This is Lewis Art for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and William Hill. Delighted today to be joined with Eddie Hearn. There's no Larry orange shirts today, gone casual, but how are we, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Nice bit of a therapeutic day today, really, being down the Lynn Boxing Club, helping these guys out down here and getting ready for a massive run of fights. So feeling great, sun is shining, and on we go.
I do have to mention one thing just before we sort of roll into it. Don't know how much of a Leyton Orient fan you are. I know did you see, your dad was involved back in the day, but my team Gillingham did beat them last night, so do have to mention it, mate.
Congratulations. Awful.
So no worries, mate. We'll roll straight into it. We're at the Lynn Amateur Boxing Club. A really, really good thing Matchroom are doing here. When you heard it was sort of closing down, Matchroom came in, saved the day. So how special was that for you to sort of be involved and almost sort of help, such an important part of the community in a way?
Yeah, listen, it's about a month ago, I saw on social media that the Lynn Amateur Boxing Club was closing down. The place was falling down, was told they could no longer keep it open, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, firstly, this club, you only got to walk past it to see the history. You've got to walk 500 yards that way, 500 yards that way, and see the community around here, whether it's Peckham, whether it's Camberwell, whether it's Streatham, wherever it is. This place has saved so many people's lives. Like every young kid that's walked through these doors has changed their life and led to a more positive life. So the thought of a club like this closing just baffled me. And I spoke to the team here, and we just asked them how much it was, and we paid for it. Because I can't believe that the local council or the government can't fund a facility like this. With every problem that is happening out there on the streets right now, you want to let a facility that's so fundamental to positivity for the younger generation close and evaporate. I mean, forget that this place breeds world-class fighters, which is great for boxing, but what about the kids that walk through here with no hope, with no positivity, with no direction? So, we come down, we gave them the money, and we said, let's get it back open. So September 30th, which is our fight week for Jordan Thompson, we'll reopen this place, looking a lot different to it. But you don't want to take away too. It's got a special feel, hasn't it? But we've got Mike Costello here today, our lead commentator. He was a kid growing up here. You've got Ellie Scotney. There's a picture of her up there, probably 8 or 9 years old. To think that a young girl walked through these doors and become a world champion. One of the most famous fighters now. And you speak to her about what this place means to her, and we can't have it. We can't help every club. And I'll help as many as I can. And I'll put my time in, I'll put my money in, but we need help from the government and the council. They've got to see, and it just baffles me. It's not difficult to see what these places do. You just got to come here once, and I believe you'll be committed to that. So yeah, pleased to help out, and let's get this place back open.
100%. And you've seen so much in the game. You've been around boxing for all your life, and you talk about your passion of your sport. Do you feel like you get the most passion when you come to the grassroots level?
Because all the bullshit is taken away. We deal in a world of who said what and what clickbait and what politics from the broadcasters and who's signed up to what testing agency, and it's incredibly draining, and it takes away from the beauty of what is sport. Sport is the most wonderful thing in life, wonderful experience that just teaches you so much, gives you so much enjoyment. And when you come through here and you just watch kids, I'm a parent, I've seen what boxing has done for my own kids, and I don't want her to necessarily be a fighter. She doesn't want to spar. Just coming down here, getting fit, being around positive people, making friends, listening to coaches, working, it's completely changed her mindset and outlook on life. So I'm a massive believer in it. And as I get a little bit older, I do start thinking about what is my purpose in life. And if I can give something back to places like this, if I can come back down here in 4 weeks' time and look around and see this place packed with people, kids off the estate, kids from here, and I know that once they come through those doors, it will change their life. There's never been a kid that walked through the doors of an amateur boxing club that hasn't improved their life. And we've all got a responsibility to help. We can do it more than others, but the government and the local councils, they've got to help, and we'll be pushing at that level as well.
100%. And it's interesting because you done an interview a couple of weeks ago with Coogan straight after Usyk Dubois, and you've been someone that's always said you're not going to be like Bob Arum or Frank or doing this for so long, but you talked about how much passion you've got for the sport, and you're actually watching sort of the boxing on the weekend, even though you're not involved. What would you say has sort of changed for you and for this new sort of lease of passion for yourself in boxing, where you're talking about want to do this for a while?
I'll never leave boxing because why? Why would I? I love boxing. I don't feel you should walk away from something that you're so passionate about, you love. Now, the boxing business, I can't guarantee I'll always be in that business, because once it becomes unenjoyable and it doesn't fill my heart with passion, I won't do it anymore. Could be 5 or 6 years, could be 15 years, but I will never leave this. I will always invest my time, I will always invest my money in community boxing. But I would love to be the guy that changed the system. It's great turning up here, 10 grand to this club, 10 grand to this club. And, the Matchroom Sport Charitable Foundation, we donate millions of pounds a year to charity. We don't even talk about it. But this is important to talk about because this is something that we're incredibly passionate about. I would love to be the person, not known as a philanthropist that just gives his money away, I'll do that as well, but that changed the system, that got the government thinking about how we can improve the lives of the younger generation. Because I know the country will improve if we drive kids into clubs, into sport. The country will improve. Crime will drop, right? Results at school will improve. The industries will improve by more positive and hard-working individuals as well. So this is all the stuff that we need to speak to. Sadiq Khan loves his boxing. He's at Earlsfield. He knows, but he's not necessarily the guy who's got, the keys to the safe to come in and say, we're going to have a nationwide investment in the sport of boxing.
So we'll go on to sort of very good words there, but we'll go on to sort of the more serious boxing topics. Yesterday it came out that Joe Cusumano had an adverse finding in his test 10 weeks sort of after Edgar Berlanga versus Jason Quigley. Is this disappointing to hear again, but it shows that Matchroom are going further and above? I know this was Athletic Commission, but it's still going above for drug testing.
I can't really take the credit for that one because that was a New York State Athletic Commission test, which they do independently. It does take longer because they don't spend the money that you do to get the results quicker, and I understand that. And the positivity back in the last few days and weeks about good. You've unearthed another one. You found another. We don't want people to test positive, but there is a feeling now that if we're going to clear, it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. Do you know what I mean? If we're all of a sudden, and you've seen now VADA, I also understand that VADA announced all the testing on their Twitter, right? So yesterday you would have seen Richardson, Hitchens against Cepeda, Sandy Ryan against McCaskill, all these other fights that we've just added onto VADA testing, all costing a load of money each fight. But we're in now, and I've made the commitment to do it, and we're going to do it. So you're going to get more. This is the game we're in now. So don't be surprised to see more. But hopefully we can get on top of it, we can control the sport, we can make it safer for everybody involved. And if someone is cheating, then hopefully we can get to the bottom of that. Every fighter needs the right to explain themselves and go through a process. And this process was quite interesting because the New York State Athletic Commission wrote to us this week to tell us and said, we're dealing with it, this is what's happening, blah, 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 no contest potentially, blah, blah. That's great, that's what we want. We can't deal with that. So well done to the New York State Athletic Commission, and on we go. Will there be another one in a couple of weeks, or won't there be another one in a couple of weeks? We shall see.
Is it worrying to hear, though, where Matchroom, you say they go above and beyond, they want VADA testing, and we see sort of a lot more people recently have been coming out from Matchroom testing positive, which is obviously good to see that they're getting caught. But in another way, we see that Liam Smith versus Chris Eubank Jr. had no VADA testing. Dave Allen came out and said that he didn't get tested all time. So is it disappointing to see when you're going above and beyond, other promoters aren't following suit?
Yeah, I mean, as I understand it, Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr., I'm hearing that Chris Eubank Jr. only got tested on fight week by UKAD. I can't believe it. You've got some people like Simon Jordan saying, no, UKAD's okay, let's just stick with you. Are you mad? You're talking about wanting to make the sport safer. Now you're saying don't VADA test, just let UKAD do it. But everybody's openly admitting that UKAD is under-resourced and doesn't test as enough. If Eubank only got tested on fight week, or Liam Smith got tested once, that's insane. So don't you want more testing? I mean, just tell me now, because that'll save me about £1 million, which would be lovely. But the whole idea is to make sure that there is more testing. So I don't know. I think we got to stop listening to the noise and do what we think is right, and we think we're doing that now. We're making that investment. We're making that commitment. But you will see adverse findings. I'm not telling you you're never going to see another one. You know, if all of a sudden, if you were conducting, I don't know, 200 tests a year, and now you're conducting 1,000 tests a year, what do you think? You know, but I'd rather see the focus as well drop to other people that aren't making the investment for testing. But that's up to them.
What you said about Simon Jordan there, he made comments and he made a Twitter post about sort of who needs VADA when you've got UKAD. So when you say things like this, it's disappointing to hear people, Simon Jordan saying things like that?
How can you say who needs VADA when you've got UKAD when UKAD aren't even testing? If they've tested Eubank once on fight week, or even if it was twice, it's not enough. So you can't say who needs VADA. I mean, which way do you want it? Like, I'll back down on testing if you want, but this is not good for the game. This is not good for the safety of the fighters. So, like I said, we're all in there. I've doubled down. We're spending. I've got bills going out left, right, and centre to VADA. The invoices are flying in. But I just hope the same energy goes to other people. And my criticism of Smith Eubank, which is a pay-per-view show, you're charging the public a lot of money to watch that fight. Do it right. You know, and the broadcasters should be saying as well. A fight of that magnitude, let's make sure that, you know, we're professional about this.
Moving on, Tony Bellew came out and said that AJ v WADA talks have halted for a potential Fury fight where they're looking at a Rumble in the jungle type situation. Is there any truth in that?
Not really. I did see that from Tony. It didn't come from me. Look, don't be completely shocked to see AJ Fury early next year. There are definite conversations about Fury Usyk. You know the conversations about AJ Wilder, but anything's possible at this stage. So, you know, you're talking about tens of millions of dollars. These things do take time. I said yesterday it's slow. It is slow, but it's slow for a reason. But we do need to speed up. Our money's agreed. So's Wilder. We've got to pay for it. We've got to get it done, and we'll see if we do.
Just the last one from me. We see Frank Warren and Dan Rafael going back and forth with Dan sort of criticising. What do you make of that? Have you seen much of the back and forth?
Yeah, it's a bit. I don't think you should necessarily make fun of someone's size or physical condition, but it's not Frank Warren, is it? Let's be honest. I mean, when was the last time Frank Warren actually tweeted? But, you know, I think I've said before, I don't mind holding my hands up. In my opinion, it was 100% a low blow. If I was Frank Warren, I'd probably be doing everything I can to try and get a rematch or whatever. So Frank probably knows deep down. Like, do you honestly think that if that was Anthony Joshua in that fight, that Frank would be saying that that's a low blow?
Completely understand. Eddie, thank you for your time. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. And yeah, all the best for that. Thank you, mate. Cheers.